crazy.
Nando, can you actually wait? I was going to say, I want to get to a few other things, but we've talked about this before, actually in two different ways. Nando, you and I have talked about the role of like Gulf money and Russian and just oligarch money and the future of sports. And Woz, from day one, you have been, not only have you connected the just like embarrassing racism of some fans, but also just the fact that people always forget, and they're privileged workers, absolutely, but they're workers. These are people who are
100%
punching a clock, having a job. And at the very beginning of the series, it's just not satisfactorily answered. Just the idea that maybe even not just the general manager himself, Jerry Krause, but maybe even the owner, Reinsdorf, is just not into being outshined by his own team. No. And I just am thinking about that, like there's the economics of where all this stuff is going, which we got to put it in, but even just on that ultra petty level, that's wild.
Yeah, it's so interesting for me, for somebody who like basically I'm immersed in NBA culture 24/7, 365, right? And right now, so LeBron kicks off in 2010, what I would call the modern version of the NBA, where we cover this shit 365. We know who these guys are dating on Instagram. It happened once he did the decision to go to Miami, right? Like that's like basically the big bang of the modern NBA, right? And people have dubbed that the player empowerment movement, where literally LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh decide in the room together, not the billionaires, not the commissioner, and decide to make this paradigm shifting decision, like on their own, unilaterally, no permission, no fucks given. This is the player empowerment movement. These are the players basically understanding what their influence is and wielding it unabashedly. And at the time, I remember it. Well, first it was panned, and then sports reporters were smart enough to look closely at the people who were panning it and saying, hold on, maybe this is actually cool, right? And it got praised, and then we've come around now 10 years later to an idea of like, maybe the fans don't like this shit. Maybe like it is true that the players in the NBA are way more powerful than their counterparts in the MLB or the NFL, or even like, big time soccer out in Europe. But maybe we shouldn't highlight it because, the optics of the NBA being what it is, like maybe we don't like the idea that players are running the show. And then I watched this doc, and Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf.
We want the players running the show.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and like I think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating that Steve Kerr, who played for Phil Jackson, who like we talked about, like is like this kind of very evolved human being, players coach and stuff. And Steve Kerr, who now is the coach of the Warriors. Do you remember what was when he let the Warriors players coach themselves for a half? In a game, and they call their own plays and stuff, and he just kind of sat back. That's a total Phil Jackson thing. But the backlash from the fans to that was insane. It was like, well, the coaches make the decision.
Well,
and it's like, well, they won the game, first of all.
The crazy thing, Nando, it came from the other team's fans. They felt they were showing them up.
Right.
It was a sign of disrespect that you would let Steph Curry make decisions on a basketball court on his own. Like,
is that really that disrespectful?
Exactly.
This asshole that Steph Curry was.
But no, seriously, plays. Mike, though, like it's beautiful
was a huge
what
thing.
You brought up. It's beautiful what you brought up, because I'm like, Michael Jordan, universally accepted and respected as a basketball deity. Jerry Krause is overruling him.
Yeah, overruling.
What?
And Phil, I mean, and even if you want to go to like the mediating role, like even Phil Jackson.
Yep.
Let's be practical, okay? Like people have got their, whether it's the racial dynamics, whether it's just the whatever way you resent the players, you want to see them still be coached or whatever. Like Phil Jackson showed up too, and I don't know. That's just wild. That and the way Reinsdorf at the end is kind of like, whoa, what do you say? Huh? You want to do it again? It's just like it's also a good reminder to me, because as much as I try to look at the economics of things or whatever. There is just a part of this that's just like, okay, any rational person would break the bank to sign a 1-year re-up on all of these people. You're going to beyond make your money back. The people of the city are going to love you. Like, and then if it does disband the year after that, you're not going to be hated. Like,
they could have doubled ticket prices.
It just makes every type of sense. But no.
Yeah.
I don't like that Phil and Mike get the attention. I mean, that's really what it, and again, and you pointed out early, Waz, and it makes, because by the end, I felt kind of bad for Krause, because like Charlemagne, I heard Charlemagne actually say like that Jerry Krause is just meeting his insecurity every day. Like, it just so happens that this man who is like unusually short, not athletic, and all of this, that his talent is for scoping talent in a game that he can have no physical presence in. That's a very hard ego dynamic. That would take, like, he should have been sitting and meditating with Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
But like by the end of it, though, you're like, and Waz, you said this in the beginning, you were just like, yeah, like that's the owner using Krause to shield himself.
100%. That's and that's what you get to do when you're a freaking billionaire, right? Like, you literally get to hire a human meat shield. Like, I don't have to take any of the hits. I can just literally tell this guy to say something, and he will say it in public. He will get all the backlash, even though I'm the final decision. I own this team, right? And that's Jerry Krause's role. And again, of course, Jerry Krause has an ego, and he's like, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm the one that makes this thing tick. Like, even after, I think it's after the 1997 championship or the 96 one, where Jerry's in the locker room, Jerry Krause, that is, he's getting champagne poured on him, all of this stuff.
Oh, man.
And he talks about the Chicago Bulls, just a great organization. From the front office down to the owner's box, just a great organization. And he goes, and the players are cool too, but such a great organization. And
that's a rough one. That is a rough one.
Are you crazy,
that is a rough
bro?
one. That's a rough one.
What are you even talking about? What are you even talking about, bro? Like, not even George Steinbrenner would say something like that at the peak of his power. He would never say, oh, man, go to talk about Mo Rivera, Derek Jeter, Andy Pettit, secondarily to himself and the money he spent. He's like, no, like, I spent my money wisely, but these cats are great. Like Jerry Krause is just clueless in that sense.
And the best, I'm a Heat fan, and the Heat is a good organization. Like, they've been very good for a long time. Pat Riley understands that they're only as good as like how good their players are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Pat Riley has had he won 15 games one year. When he had awful players. Like, the organization means nothing if you don't get the best players, and he always understands that and always goes after the best players that are available. That's the bottom line. You don't win in the front office, like, it's just, you need the players on the court. Like, I remember, when in the NFL, like, there was like this kind of coaches revolution in a sense that, like, after the West Coast offense and the Niners and stuff, and George Seifert won the Super Bowl with the Niners, and then he went to Carolina to start their franchise, and he went 1-15. You know what I mean? Because he didn't have Joe Montana, and he didn't have a good.
He didn't have a good organization.
Yeah, exactly.
You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.